Hey folks, this video is all about
Creede, Colorado.
Creede, Colorado, that's right. And in this video, we're going to show you some of the things that we did, including
some great camping and boondocking spots,
some awesome fishing,
and we're going to take you along on some amazing hikes. There are so many hikes here.
Yep, what hike or trip would be complete without partaking in some delicious local libations? Now, before we jump in, I'd just like to quickly ask you to consider subscribing to the channel, if you don't mind, and leave us a comment. Good, bad, indifferent, whatever. We do answer all of our comments, and we'll do that. So let's jump into Creede. So first of all, where the heck is Creede, Colorado?
Southwestern Colorado on Highway 149, the Silver Thread Scenic Byway, almost due north and a little over an hour from Pagosa Springs.
Creede is in an elevation of 8,852 feet and tucked into a canyon in the San Juan Mountains. So how big is Creede?
Creede is not very big at all. According to the 2020 U.S. Census, Creede had a population of 257 people.
257 people. And how long would you say it is from end to end? I don't even think it's a mile,
I don't even think it's a mile long or a mile wide. It's not very big.
Yeah, it's pretty small. It's smaller than I expected it to be, I guess, 257 people. Why don't you tell us about your first impressions coming into town?
My first impression was Creede was that it was another cute Colorado town, and there are so many. Everywhere you go, you find a cute town.
When we got there and I saw how small it was, really, I thought maybe it was good for a couple hours, walking up and down Main Street, that's all. Well, we ended up spending 4 days, and there were 4 really fun days there. And so that's what we're going to show you in this video, what to do to make the most of your trip to Creede. So why don't we start by talking about Main Street? Tell us a little bit about Main Street in Creede.
Creede's Main Street has a lot of cool shops. They have gift shops, they have a lot of restaurants, cafes, places to have a drink, and a lot of them have live music.
This is one of my favorite stores here called San Juan Sports. I liked it because of the shoes hanging outside. I wanted to try to figure out how to get a ladder and climb up and grab a couple pair of those Obos because they're expensive and I could use a new pair. They didn't look like they were in that bad a shape to be hanging out there.
We love Obos.
But around the side of the building where there's a parking lot, there was some beautiful art. We saw these beautiful murals on the side of this building. I didn't find the name of the artist anywhere. Of course, I didn't ask either. I guess I could have. But I love this painting of these elk and, of course, the fish.
He loves fish.
Yep, these are rainbow trout, I believe, in the river here. These sheep, the sheep out in the field. And speaking of art, there are also a few art galleries in town. This happened to be my favorite, called the Sea Waters Gallery. I really like the work in here. Like this watercolor ink resist by Peggy Morgan Stenmark. And these beautiful kind of classically done portraits by Chris Gosser. There were also some really cool sculptures in there too, and unfortunately I did not get the artist's name or find out. If anybody knows the name of the artist who did these sculptures, please leave us a comment in the description below. The north end of Main Street, now that's where the canyon starts. And this is the iconic shot of Creede. If you Google Creede, this is the shot that you're always going to see. And at this end of town, we have the Creede Town Hall with this beautiful cliff behind it. I mean, what a nice backdrop. And then we have Willow Creek here that welcomes us to the entrance of the canyon. A little waterfall here and a pond. And the coolest thing about this end of the street to me is the Creede Fire Department.
It's pretty amazing. It's known as the world's only underground firehouse. It was begun in 1976 and took 6 years to complete, using over 3 tons of explosives, 2 of which were donated by explosives companies and their agents.
So I was wondering, what came first, the donated explosives? Hey, Creede, we got a bunch of explosives here if you want them to do something with. And they thought, hey, let's build a cave. Or did they get the idea for the cave? And then I don't know how that happened. And I also like that description of explosive companies and their agents. Are we talking about secret agents? these CIA agents? I don't know. I digress. Let's jump back into the firehouse. So they claim that the Christmas tree design enables them to move any piece of equipment without having to jockey any others around. So what is going on here, though? I'm not sure if this is a dummy that you learn to do CPR on after somebody's had a heart attack while lifting weights, or look at his face. It looks like he may have been beaten up by the weights. I don't know. If you belong to the Creede Fire Department and you can explain this little display to us, please leave a comment below. And it's definitely worth going to and seeing. I didn't see a single person there. I just walked in and started shooting. I don't know if I was allowed to or not, but it seemed like tourists were invited to go in and see it. So that's a pretty cool thing. Next up after the Creede Fire Department is the beginning of the Bachelor Loop. It's a 17-mile self-guided tour through the silver mining district. There are 16 interpretive stops along the way. This is the first one, and unfortunately the only one we made it to, because this sign says four-wheel drive advised beyond this point, and I advise it too. I don't know what the condition of the road is like beyond this point, but it gets pretty darn steep.
And narrow.
And
it's really narrow. One car can go by.
And slippery gravel. I was in first gear going up to this first stop, and my tires were slipping. I didn't think I was going to make it. So this is as far as we decided to go. One thing I didn't find out, and we couldn't find it anywhere in Google either, is why is it called Bachelor Loop?
I think maybe it's because all the miners were bachelors, or maybe all the miners that came to the site were bachelors before the women came. I don't know. Yeah,
maybe. Or maybe they were bachelors because they were so stinky after working in the mine all day. I don't know. Again, if you know, leave a comment. So after our first day of walking around and checking out Creede, we were a little bit parched. So we decided to enjoy some of those local libations that I talked about. So where did we stop? We stopped at the Square Peg Brewerks. Now the brewery is actually in Alamosa, Colorado. This is just the tap room in Creede. They had a lot of delicious looking beers, some of which I sampled, and I decided to have an Avalanche Red, which is really, really nice. A little bit of the Avalanche Red here. What's the name of this place?
Square Peg Brewerks.
Square Peg Brewerks, the Avalanche Red. And we're going to come back for something really special. And you know what? We did go back for something really special, and here it is. Square Peg Peanut Butter Stout. 6.8% ABV. I went back and bought a 6-pack of these. Oh, it's worth it. Look at that. Look at that head. Let's try it. Oh. That is
May I try it?
Yes, please do.
I'm not a beer drinker.
That is so delicious. It tastes like peanut butter, but it's not cloyingly sweet like so many peanut butter stouts are. I usually don't mind it, but it has a little bit of tartness to it, almost like black cherries or raisins or something like that. Get yourself a 6-pack of this while you're in town, or just stop into Square Peg Brewing and have one of these. And by the way, this is a Soulcraft Brewing glass from Salida, Colorado. That's a whole other different video. Another amazing place and another great brewery.
Salida is great.
So here's the Square Peg. Next, I had to stop into Rio Grande Anglers, which is both a fly shop and a coffee shop.
I think it's called Coffee on the Fly.
I think so. Got a couple Copper Johns and some rubber legs. We're going to see if this will catch any fish tomorrow. So after our first day in Creede, we decided to boondock in the Rio Grande National Forest, about 15 minutes south of Creede, just below the Palisades campground. And it's a really cool spot. How much did it cost?
It was free.
Free, my favorite price. Yep. It was right next to the Rio Grande River. Just beautiful fishing there. So of course, I got to do some fishing.
And did you catch any fish?
Yes, I did catch one fish. However, I did not catch it on any of the flies that I bought at Rio Grande Angler. I think I lost all of those, but I caught it on a Prince Nymph, if you're wondering. The next day, heading back into Creede, we had to pull off of the Silver Thread Byway and check out these abandoned train cars. Our next day in Creede, the first thing we decided to do in the morning was take a really nice hike on what is called the Up and Over Trail. Now, the entrance to this trail can be pretty difficult to find. It's at the east end of 7th Street at a junkyard, somebody's house. I don't know what's going on here, but we weren't really sure if this was the entrance to the trail or not until we saw the sign for it at the back of the property. Now, All Trails calls this a 3-mile out and back, moderately challenging trail. It has an elevation gain of 1,056 feet, and the grade is 25%. Now, 3-mile out and back, that means it's 1.5 miles each way, and the high point is in the middle. So that 1,000 feet elevation gain is over 3/4 mile. And believe me, it was steep. Now, the trail has the same starting point as the Inspiration Trail, which is a 9.2 mile loop with an elevation gain of 2,486 feet. I don't think I'll be doing that one anytime soon. Personally, I'm finding this trail just a little bit difficult at 9,500 feet. Hard for me to get any oxygen. Looks like it's pretty cool though. And like what we see at the top here.
The trail is really steep, and it was a little bit windy when we were on the trail, a little bit overcast. But when you get to the top, you have beautiful views of the canyon, of the town of Creede, of the mountains far away. It's absolutely stunning.
Yeah, you can see the entrance to the Bachelor Loop. And this is one of the reasons that Bachelor Loop really requires 4-wheel drive or a more robust vehicle than we have. Because look at these roads here. This is the Bachelor Loop continuing up the mountain in the far distance. And this is something that I saw up there that I thought was very strange and interesting at the same time. It appears that this is where they must shoot off their fireworks for 4th of July and other holidays, I guess. Either that or it's an enemy artillery barrage or whatever you call it. Anyway, it just looks like they're shooting something down at the town of Creede. Maybe I've discovered something. So if you belong to the police department or the fire department in Creede and you don't know about this, you might want to go up there and check it out.
Creede is known as having an amazing 4th of July parade.
Oh, really?
And fireworks, and maybe...
She did the research.
Yeah, it's supposed to be amazing.
Wow, that was really something else up there. It was super windy. Had to take my hat off, it blew away. And the views, of course, are incredible. That's why you're going up there. But wow, there are some precipitous ledges that I looked over and kind of gave me the heebie-jeebies a little bit. But we're on our way down the other side of this trail. And so far, it is really easy. It's just kind of pine forest and kind of a dirt trail. But I would highly suggest doing it when you're here in where are we? Creede. Life on the road, folks. I can never remember where I am. So I think a little piece of advice I would give people is to do the trail backwards instead of doing it forward. We only did it one way. So we went up and over and didn't turn around and come back up and over again. But if I was to do it again, I would do it from the north end back into town rather than the way we did it. However, finding that trailhead is even harder because there is no signage and you can barely tell that there's a trail there. And if you are going to do the trail backwards, here's the beginning of the other end. It's right across from the red house. So again, we only went one way. We ended up at the north end, and it was a nice walk back into town from there. And on the way back into town, we passed the skating ring, skating pond, hockey pond. I don't know what it's called, but there's the skate shack there and these old skates, which are really cool. I guess they rent skates here or just loan them out. Next to the skate shack is the gear shack, and obviously hockey is a big thing in Creede and supported by the local taverns. And these things, bowling balls, cut in half. At least that's what they look like. Are they for curling? I'm not sure what they are for.
Ice bowling?
Ice bowling? I don't know. But if you know what these things are, please leave us a comment and enlighten us all.
And that's another thing Creede has. They have a really big winter festival. This town has festivals every month of the year. They always have something going on.
Yeah, there were posters on all of the telephone poles advertising all the different festivals that are going on.
They have chocolate festival. They have the spicy foods. They have a salsa festival, poetry. They have theater. They have so many festivals every weekend.
Yeah, it looks like there's always something going on.
Yeah. On our second night in Creede, we found a great place to boondock in National Forest land, right above Creede off County Road 504.
Does it cost?
Free.
Free. It's free, and it's 5 minutes from Creede. And I don't even want to tell you about it because now it's going to be ruined. Probably. You want to?
No, there's enough room for everyone.
So this spot was really close to the end of the Bachelor Loop. So we decided since we couldn't go any further than the first stop at the front of the Bachelor Loop, we would go backwards and see how far we could get up there. And you know what? It was the same story. It gets really steep really fast, and we weren't sure if we could make it in our van. But we did see another mine at the end, and this was a really interesting building. You know, I'm not really sure what it was used for. There was no signage. I'm not sure if it was public property or private. You read that all the mines are private, isn't that right?
All the mines are supposed to be privately owned. This one did not have a sign on it. No trespassing, no private property. So we kind of walked around it.
Yeah, and I thought it was really interesting. I didn't know what this machinery was for, but I always love shooting machinery. It's kind of like metal sculpture. It's really interesting. But if you do go here, since we don't know if it's private property or not, just use your own discretion and don't tell them that we sent you. Next stop on the tour is something that we always really enjoy doing, and that is visiting the local cemetery.
I love cemeteries. I don't think cemeteries are sad at all. Like old cemeteries, if there's one there, we'll make a beeline to see it.
So night number 3, we boondocked once again in Rio Grande National Forest land, about 10 minutes southwest of Creede, near the Shallow Creek Trailhead. Free. Great spot. Nice and grassy among trees, right next to Shallow Creek. And in the morning, we got up and we hiked the Shallow Creek Trail. Now, All Trails calls this moderately challenging 4.7 mile out and back with an elevation gain of 921 feet. We're having kind of an overcast day today, so that's kind of nice. It's not too hot. It's only 70 degrees. Beautiful, as you can see in the background. It goes through the forest and follows Shallow Creek. Pretty flat, really pretty. Nice trail.
Oh, and Charlie spotted a moose across the creek and took off after it.
Charlie's a hunter.
But luckily, he didn't catch it. Kind of like Glenn with fishing.
Yeah, luckily he did not catch the moose. And the first part of the trail here is really super easy. And easy, that's what I thought until it started to climb. See those mountains in the distance? You got to go up those.
It's pretty steep.
Yeah, and I don't know if you can tell in this shot. It doesn't look very steep in this shot, but if you look, I'm on my tiptoes and I was breathing hard. 1/3 of a mile to go, folks, to the turnaround. 1/3 of a mile. This is going to be a surprise payoff. If I can catch my breath.
But when you get near the top, the trail levels off and you're walking through beautiful aspen groves with like quaking leaves and purple lupins and just beautiful plants and shade, and it's gorgeous.
Yeah, and there is a little surprise at the end. Wow. Here we are, folks. We have reached the turnaround point. 9,700 feet. It's at 2.4 miles. What do you think of that trail so far?
I thought it was pretty steep. And I'm in pretty good shape, just for an average person, but I still thought it was pretty steep.
Yeah, well, you can hear me huffing and puffing. I think it was steeper. That's the steepest trail we've walked yet, but there's a payoff at the end, which is very interesting, and it's right behind us. Take a look. It's got a scary looking deck around back that if you had the guts, you could go out and see a beautiful view. I don't think I'm walking on old plywood.
So I was hoping when we got to the top, we got to the yurt, this would be a margarita yurt, and they'd be serving ice cold margaritas on top of this mountain. But it didn't happen.
So let this be a lesson, folks. If you want margaritas on the deck when you get to the top, you got to bring them with you.
Bring your own. Bring your own.
So after a couple great days in and around Creede, we hopped back onto the Silver Thread Scenic Byway and headed north to Gunnison, Colorado, which is at the end of the Scenic Byway. And that's another video. That's our next video. So if you subscribe to the channel, you'll find out when that's coming out. I'll put a link to it in the description below, because the Silver Thread Scenic Byway, that's one of the most amazing roads in America. Gunnison, another one of our favorite places
really
in
cute.
Colorado. So what do you think? Worth a trip to Creede?
Definitely worth a trip to Creede. If you like small towns, if you like cool towns, Creede is one of the places you should go to.
Yeah, as I said at the top of this video, I thought we were good for a couple hours there, and we ended up spending 4 days. Because what Creede really was for us is really a jumping off point for outdoor adventure.
Yeah.
There's a lot to do in that
Mountain
area.
biking, hiking, fishing, as we said, has everything.
Here's to Colorado, folks.
And Creede.
And Creede. And thanks, Square Peg, for some delicious beer. We'll see you on the road.